I wanted to record a video today because I want to share a story time, how I manifested an apology. Now, it wasn't my true intention to manifest an apology, but for those that maybe this could be helpful, this affirmation that I used. I didn't recruit this affirmation to get something. I actually began saying this affirmation because it felt good. I don't really care to get something most of the time. I just want to say it because I just want to see what happens. Sometimes I just want to see what goes on when I say these specific things. So, summer last year, I was more or less, I wouldn't say dating somebody, but I was interested in somebody. Okay, I was interested in somebody, and I felt that I no longer, I didn't want to pursue this whole thing anymore. I just wanted to charge it. I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. Okay, it was a culmination of mistreatment happening that I was just no longer happy with. I just wasn't happy with the equation between us, and we were friends before that, so I also wanted to just completely charge the friendship. I just didn't see the point of us being friends. I don't also want to go into too much detail about what happened, but they are a lovely person. But it's just that one of the things I didn't like about them is that they had a problem apologizing, okay? And that irritated the shit out of me. I kind of accepted it. They gave me a reason for why they don't apologize, but it wasn't good enough for me, to be honest. And I was like, the fuck? But it's like, whatever. Doesn't matter. And the reason they gave me was that if they admit that they are wrong, then they have to kind of own that. And they don't want to own the fact that they are wrong, which to some people might be a red flag. But to me, it was a red flag too. But I kind of ignored it at the time, okay? So the way that I ended things between us was kind of dramatic. It was due to some miscommunication we had, and it was my last straw, and I was like, you know what, whatever, sod this. So I charged it. Had not been in communication with this person since July last year, and they had reached out to me, but I just chose to not communicate with them because I just didn't see the point in talking to them, and no resentments, no ill hard feelings or anything from my end. Now it was the month of December. I was working on a totally different desire. I have a family member that is very stubborn, that rarely makes an effort. I started to say things like, my faith is the biggest thing in the world. My faith can move mountains. And I said this I would just sprinkle it during my day. And I saw a lot of movement, right? I saw movement in anything that required my faith. But this big thing was still not entirely budging. So on the 31st is when I arrived home. All of a sudden my mood just shifts, and I was in my room and I was pretty upset. I'm just that type of person, like I just need to cry sometimes to release emotion, okay? I don't cry often. I think I cry maybe once a month, and that's purely when it's that time of the month. I'm not a tearful person. And so I remember coming home, I am bawling, I'm crying, I don't care about the world, I just want to be fucking left alone. I like to talk to myself a lot. I like to talk through my own problems. It's kind of like a self-help therapy talk session with myself. I'm talking to myself, I'm literally talking out my problem with myself. And I was like, fuck, this family member is really fucking stubborn. Like, I was just feeling it. I was just feeling so much anger. As I was crying, I said to myself, it's like, you know what, they win. I can't be asked to fight with this family member. They win. There was no argument or anything, but it was just interesting to me that my brain perceives this as some kind of combat I'm in, right? So I say verbatim, can't be asked, I'm so tired, they win, I lose, I surrender, don't give a fuck anymore, okay? I don't like to lament. I'm not like I said, I'm not a tearful person. I don't really dwell on my sadness or anything. I just needed it to release emotion. I released that emotion. I immediately felt better. I am just somebody that likes to observe my own emotions. So I think back to that moment because it really stuck out to me. I'm like, wait, what did that person win? What do they win? Do I think I'm in some war with them? That they've won something that I wasn't aware of. Because it's such an interesting thing that I feel our minds are constantly, the beliefs are right there. They are there to help you navigate. I feel like you can just miss it. It's literally right under your nose. What am I missing here? Why would I say something like they win? We're not even in a combat. What is this all about? What is my mind trying to communicate to me? What are my feelings trying to communicate to me? And I was like, oh, somewhere in me, I have this belief that this person's ego is bigger than my faith. This is literally the answer I could come up with at the time. It felt right. It felt like this is my true belief. I somewhere believe this person's ego is bigger than my faith. Now, guys, that's not to say they are an egotistical person. Again, this is my version. This is my reality. This is my perspective. And it's predicated on a set of beliefs and a set of experiences I've had. It's not to say they're an egotistical person or they're a shitty person. It's my assessment of them. It's my belief. It's my judgment that I'm working with or against. So as soon as I came up with the antidote, I guess, which was that my faith is bigger than their ego. And I remember saying this and I felt this relief, like I'd figured out the fucking Da Vinci Code. I was like, oh my god, this feels so good. Like, no way are they gonna win, because there's nothing to win. I have somewhere subscribed faith in their ego. I have had to believe somewhere that their ego, their stubbornness is something so stern and immutable and rigid that my faith can't overcome that. Right after I started to say that, I was like, my faith is bigger than their ego. I'm just fucking, it's in the middle of the night. It's literally 3 a.m. guys, and I'm still awake and I'm saying this stuff because it just, I mean, I had too much coffee, so I couldn't sleep. So I keep saying this affirmation. Guys, guess who contacted me? Person A FaceTimes me apologizing for their behavior in summer. And then it hit me. Bear in mind, this person never apologized for anything they did. It's because somewhere I believed in that. I believed that they won't apologize to me even when they are in the wrong. And the moment, I guess, I started to say this affirmation, but this affirmation, obviously, I said pertaining to this other person in my life. I actually even remember saying to myself in the midst of me crying, I was like, even person A doesn't have this much of an ego. And I guess when I said even person A doesn't have that big of an ego, I just fully actually changed my perception about person A in that moment while I was crying, because I was comparing person A to this other person, right? 2 hours later, person A FaceTimes me 5 o'clock in the morning. By the way, I would never be awake at 5 in the morning on any day. Okay, that's an ungodly hour to be awake at. And honestly, I'm the queen of deleting numbers. I didn't even know who was calling me, so I picked up. I know, bold choice, but I did. He apologized to me in that phone call, and we talked about other things, but I still obviously didn't want the person back in my life. But I was like, how did this person, first of all, why are they thinking about me at 5 a.m. when we haven't spoken in 6 months? And also, I didn't need the apology, but I would have liked that apology. I remember thinking about wanting an apology in November. I remember thinking about this person, and this is because another person in my life had apologized to me in November. And I remember thinking, God, I wish person A would just apologize to me. That would be nice. But I remember at the time, my perception of them was that they would never apologize to me. They just can't admit that they are wrong. You can imagine my surprise when this person reached out to me, FaceTime me at 5 a.m. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is, because I have changed my perception about this person finally, but I was only just doing it because I was comparing it to this other stubborn person in my life. Affirmation worked on them. You cannot control and be too pedantic with who your affirmation is affecting or what it's affecting. It's literally unknown to you. You don't know how these things will come about. I had no idea that I thought their ego was bigger than my faith somewhere, okay? That I thought their ego was bigger than me. Again, this is just a story. This is just a story I'm telling myself, okay? That I've told myself when I've been in communication with this person based on the experience I've had with them, right? So it was just interesting to observe that, oh, this worked on person A and I wasn't even thinking about person A. Get off the phone to person A and I'm like, whoa, that was so freaking freaky. I go to bed. The next day, the stubborn family member starts to make effort with me. I could not believe it. I mean, I could because I created it, but it was just insane to me because I was like, oh, this is what I had to do. This was a passport. This affirmation was a passport to this reality almost. Again, I share this story because you just never know what effects your affirmation is having. Like, it could literally be governing areas of your life that you're completely unaware of. It's just a pleasant surprise when it comes into fruition. So yeah, I wanted to share this story with you guys. Hope you enjoyed the story time and try it out. Try this affirmation out. My faith is bigger than anything in this world. My faith is bigger than their ego. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.